Chuck Taylor's a legend. This building behind us, he led the way for this. He was the first men's basketball coach here, playing up in Peters Hall. I think we can all remember going in there and smelling the chlorine from the pool, and just seeing him with he was so well dressed and so charismatic on the sideline, and then he would transition into being the athletic director. And he held that position for 22 years, and that's a long time in college athletics to be an athletics director.
I was very fortunate to know Chuck from my first year on campus as a soccer player in 1974. Chuck attended all the games, knew all our sports, all our teams, and the athletes very well.
I met Coach Taylor, and it was a little odd. I was at Ferrum College, and we went up to scrimmage Radford. Coach T, after the game, it was really fun. You shake hands and everything, and kind of start walking off the court. And he yells at me. He says, "Hey, 24." And like I said, I'll never forget this. I'm like, why is this guy, yelling at me as coach, He said, come here. And I came over to him. He said, you really put it on us today. You know that, don't you? I said, yeah, it's a pretty good day for us, coach. We were kind of tired too. So. And he says, where are you from? And I said, West Virginia, a place called Morgantown. And he says to me, what holler is that? Now, right off the bat, that struck me, this guy knows something about a holler. I said, what do you know about a holler? And he says, well, first of all, Morgantown is near a lot of other places. And I'm thinking you came from the holler. And I said, well, I probably did. And he says, I'll be talking to you later. But you did a good job today.
Chuck was a colleague. He was a boss, even though he really never thought of himself that way. He was a mentor for me, but particular for me, he was mostly a friend, or as what he would call it, he was a pal. He went by a number of different names, Dr. Taylor, Chuckalino, but more than anything else, for anybody who knew him, he went by Bubba. He loved to laugh. He loved to tell stories, hear stories.
When I think about Chuck, though, working with him, knowing him over the years, it really makes me smile because, he was just so unique and so creative. Maybe just uniquely creative would be the way to think about Chuck. He was fun to work with, easy to be around. He enjoyed his job. And, therefore, if you worked for Chuck, and back in the day, we had limited resources and a small staff, so we needed to enjoy our job. So if your leader's enjoying the job, his job or her job, then it's much easier for you to enjoy your job. And, I think Chuck's one of those that gave us a lot of rope. He believed in us, and we had to produce. And since he believed in us, I think that is something we all appreciated. We appreciated his leadership style.
And one night in particular, he called me and he asked me how I was doing. And we were renting an older home and the furnace wasn't working. And I told him I'd be fine if I had some heat in the house. And they lived down the street. About 15 minutes later, I heard a tapping on the door, and Chuck was standing there with a little space heater telling me how to use it, where to put it.
And he took this program from, everybody's kind of a loosely affiliated college program to Division I. And talking to his colleagues over the years, particularly Kyle Highlander in the Big South, Chuck was just so instrumental in pulling the Big South together. Taking Radford to Division I. He had a flair for marketing, a flair for almost the dramatic in everything he did, which was so neat.
The vision to go to Division I, what a big vision at that time. And to do that in 1984, that was challenging, but that was a great thing for our university and a big vision at that time. And certainly our administration had the vision, but Chuck was the architect behind it. And I think about his love for refurbishing, remodeling cars, remodeling homes. Well, he had that creative, that eye for doing that, and he loved doing that.
His philosophy of work and his philosophy of life, I think, were pretty simple. He would say, just remember, the main thing is to keep the main thing the main thing. Pretty simple.
And I said, Chip, man, your dad was just so good because he did everything he could for us to make sure we would have a better life. And that's like, making sure we got through school, making sure, we were able to make the necessary transitions to life.
2 years after college, Chuck took a chance on me and hired me as the head soccer coach. My career, and I know I speak for many others, would never be the same without Chuck Taylor. He truly built a program from the ground up and not only brought the school along, he also brought the community. Radford Athletics would never be where it is today without Chuck. He launched many successful careers throughout his tenure and maintained friendships for life with many of us.
As we got older, we would get letters from them, and letters from Chuck, and letters from Rowdy. And our highlight every year at Christmas within the last probably 10 years was our Rowdy Red Christmas letters. We got a set of Rowdy's china, which was styrofoam cups. We got all kinds of things, little trinkets and things like that were courtesy of Rowdy.
I guess now he's on probably the best magic carpet ride of his life, and we are all better for having been a part of his life. He will truly be missed. He was the best. We love you and miss you, Chuck.
Chuck and his family represent the best Radford has to offer. I will miss his friendship. I will miss the annual Christmas card from Rowdy Red that is a cherished treasure in our family. Great job, Chuck. We all love you.
His legacy lives on here at Radford forever. I think he's as important as anybody who's ever stepped foot on this campus, and we all have such great gratitude for Chuck and everything he did.